Okay, hi everyone. This is SAS-K, Skeptics and Atheists Society of Kenya. Yeah, so today we're talking about Maandamano or demonstrations. So kindly watch till the end and feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so guys, like I said, we're talking about Maandamano today, demonstrations. Maybe we can begin with definitions. How do you define Maandamano? Thanks. Anyone? How do you define Maandamano? Who went first? Who went first? Okay, Deve, just go.
Okay, thank you, Muriuki. I don't know who else had the hand up. I did not see, but
It was Bill,
okay.
but just go. You then Bill.
Okay, great. Is it going to be English or because I wanted to go to rally, demonstration, and protest? I wanted to define.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted to.
English. It's English. Let's read in English. Demonstrations.
Okay. I think. Yeah. I think what you had, maybe I would not call it Maandamano. I would actually call it a protest. It's a protest. So the definition that comes up with AI is that the key differences between a protest, you have got a core purpose. You are dissenting against one thing, that you are marching and you are carrying signs and chanting or having a sit-in. So you are against something. Rally, as far as I know about a rally, you rally for someone. So you are supporting something. You are in unity for something, not against. And the demonstration, you are making your public opinion, you're making your opinions publicly known. So one is making an opinion publicly known. The other one, what we had, it's Maandamano, because you have got a protest, a disapproval, and a resistance against a particular issue. That's how I would define it, or rather, that is how AI defines it. And I think it is. I don't know. Do you find it clear?
Yeah, that's for me. That's good enough for me. That's good enough. Thanks.
Okay,
Bill. Okay, Bill.
I think protests are the public's way of expressing their discontent or disapproval of a certain situation that's occurring in the community. I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, fine. For me, what I have here is definition is it's derived from the root word andamana, to go in processing or to follow, and is commonly used in East Africa to describe public gatherings or street marches for civic action or political grievances. I'll repeat it again. It is derived from the root verb andamana, to go in processing or to follow, and it's commonly used in East Africa to describe public gatherings or street marches for civic action or political grievances. That's what I have. Okay, so maybe we can start with effectiveness. Do you guys think they're effective or not? Thanks. Like, but then, Deve, you're aware of what's happening in Kenya, eh? Deve, I'm sure you're aware of Kenya, right?
Oh, I read, yeah, I follow very closely what is going on, because I might have tried to escape whatever is going on there, but it reaches its hand and gets a hold of me. Whether I like it or not, it touches me.
Okay, Bill, are they effective?
Hello. So okay, I think they have the ability to be effective if we had a government that listens to the people's cries. So they do work, but not to the extent that they should be working in an ideal situation. And
Let's be cautious. Let's not get too political. Let's be cautious of what we say. So, like for me, I can just say, like what happened recently in Kenya recently. It's like they weren't effective because people went to the streets. Then again, we are back to there's been no progress. For me, just to use what happened in Kenya, people paid the price, but we are still where we were. So it's like this time they weren't effective, but the Gen Zs, at least they produced something. So I don't know anyone else on the are they effective on the effectiveness of Maandamano? Okay, Gundebe.
Oh, yes. I think they work. They work because if I look back at how Kenyans have demonstrated in the past and what they have demonstrated and what they have, what they've done, violently or not violently or peacefully, it always had to be violent because of the kind of government that we have had. If those things had not worked, where would Kenya be? They work. In fact, we have to remember that a budget had to be changed because people went on the street and they said, no, this budget should not work. Now, the problems that come even after bloodshed, that is different. That is because somebody somewhere has been affected by those demonstrations. And I think we have to admit that if somebody does not respond to those demonstrations, their government can fall in a bad way. And yes, they don't sleep. If you are demonstrating, they are not sleeping. That is my opinion. Like all the changes that have come, even as far as having a new constitution. It was not because somebody in the State House said, hey, we need a new constitution. No, it was because somebody on the street said, the heck with the State House. We want a new constitution. The heck with the parliament, because the parliament was not going to do anything. We want a new constitution. It was done on the street. It was done on the blood of Kenyans. So yes, it works in a way. Maybe not in a very good way, but in a way it works. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Debe. Stano.
Yeah, I think for me, I can say protests are very effective, and every change that we find in government in Kenya and even the other countries is because of protest. And a peaceful protest, according to my research, give no fruit. But when there is loss or chaotic, that is where we find the leaders starting to react or to make changes. But whenever we have peace, then just go to the street and then you go back to home. And they see nothing wrong with that. But whenever there is a loss, maybe the business is no longer operating, maybe there is something that has been banned, that is where you start to find the leaders have started to take their grievances seriously and they start to change. So that is according to my finding. Even in the school, I find the same thing. Thank you.
So, Stano, thanks. Are you saying there's no such thing as a peaceful protest? Are you saying there's no such thing?
Oh, I think every protest it have some laws, but it depends the impact. If the loss is huge, that is where you find the leaders start to react. But if the loss is minimal, the leaders may most of the time ignore. For example, like that of Gen Z, the loss was heavy. That is why you find something where they change many things instantly. But when there is just a small issue, the leaders just ignore.
So, Stano, let me get you right. So you're saying a protest should be violent, Maandamano, they should be violent. Are you saying that?
No, I'm not saying protests should be violent, but I'm saying according to the finding, according to my own research, when there is violence is when we find changes. But the leaders should change or the system should change, not to wait for violence for them to react.
Okay, thanks. Bill?
So, okay, so I think the reason protest work is because it's like what Mr. Noah said. The government seems to not listen or institutions don't seem to listen to people when they talk when they use the diplomatic methods. So as to how effective they are, it's only as effective as how it can only be as effective as let's say caring the government is. Because for instance, let's say something like the 2024 protests. Before it reached the point where people are storming into parliament, there are so many things that had happened before. Like I personally I signed the petition online and sent the emails, and the people protested peacefully for so long before it reached that point. And so by the time it reached that point, they were getting violent and erratic. They've been pushed to that limit. So okay, I think in an ideal world, we should not need protest at all. Like we refer to like when people express their displeasure with the policy, then the government should just adhere to what they're saying. But that's not the world we find ourselves in, or the country that we find ourselves in. So it pushes people to have to turn to these protests to communicate their displeasure. Yeah, I'm done.
Thanks, Bill. So, Bill, are you saying peaceful protest is a delusion? Is that what I'm hearing? If somebody says peaceful protest, they're deluded. Is that true?
You twist words a lot. I'm not saying it's a delusion because they can happen. I'm saying that they have not been effective so far. They might be effective in the future. And actually, in my opinion, strikes are more effective than protests. If I was to advocate for something, I would advocate for an economic strike whereby people just stop going to work and everyone stops working for like a week or two. Because I feel like, I know, I'm sure that will be more impactful than going to the streets. Because that's what worked for the civil rights movement. That's that's also, I think that's one of the tools that can really used. So I don't know why in your generation in Assistana with this protest thing. Yeah, I'm not saying coma it's a delusion. I'm saying they're not effective in the environment that we have found ourselves in. That's what I'm saying. I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Deve?
Thanks, Muriuki. Yes, just like it has been said, if you don't disrupt anything, that you are not going to get anything. Because the system that you are dealing with is not very sensitive to the mwananchi, particularly in Kenya. So if you do not disrupt something, whether you disrupt the economy, you disrupt the transportation, you disrupt the education, unless and until you disrupt something, They are not going to react. Now, about other countries, I remember coming from Moise, everything was so peaceful. We were an island of peace in a sea of, in East Africa of turmoil. I came here and every day somebody was demonstrating, was carrying placards. Here, people just carry placards, very big placards, and they demonstrate by the side of the road, and everybody's going to see them anyway. They might not block anything, but they are very, very visible. And I always used to think, what are they like? What is all this demonstration? Do they really need to do this? I just did not understand the effectiveness of what they were doing, because I was coming from a country that was not sensitive to the needs that they had and how to go about. But eventually Kenya got there, yes. So yes, it can be peaceful, but I do not think that in Kenya it can be peaceful, because nobody respects the rights of the people. The people are just there demonstrating, carrying placards, and then the police are shooting live bullets. Then it cannot be peaceful. The only reason it's not peaceful is the policeman does not understand that doesn't understand the Constitution. And if they understand the Constitution, they don't respect it. They don't care about the Constitution. They've been given their marching orders from somebody who also does not respect the Constitution of the country. Now, there could be problem of other goons and all that. Hey, I'm not even going to go to goons, because I do not know where they come from. I'm just going to say that anybody shooting at demonstrators, peaceful demonstrators who are just carrying a bottle of water and a cell phone, well, that person does not respect the Constitution. That is the problem. That the violence is due to that person. I thank you.
Okay, maybe I can pose a question. Can we say it's a police who disrupt this so-called peaceful? Because people always say it's a peaceful demonstration. So is it fair to say it's a police who disrupt? Is that accurate? Thanks.
Is that my question?
No, you can answer. It's for anybody. It's open. But anyone can answer, because I've heard people saying that protests begin peacefully, but when the police come, is when all hell breaks loose. So is it fair to say that the police are the ones who spoil?
Let it pass. I've already actually have alluded something to the Constitution and higher powers. So I'll let Bill take that. Thank you.
Yeah, then you'll answer later. You can answer later. Okay, Bill, go.
Okay, I don't think that the police necessarily actually make the protests violent. But I think, like, when for most protests, when they're peaceful, there are usually bad actors that will come on board and and take that as an opportunity to maybe rob or destroy roads or public property. And okay, the police may aggravate the situation, or they may make the situation worse than it has to be. But in general, I don't think it's the police that should be blamed for coming. They can be blamed for making it worse than it needs to be. So, like, let's say when people are burning the car that was burned up in Roysambu recently during the last protest, that was unnecessary. Like, there are no police that came to make them do that. And if it was true that it's the police that cause the protest to turn violent, then the violence will be directed towards the police, not towards civilians. But that's what we see in most of the protests today, because most of those most of that violence is directed towards people's stores, people's and the individuals, and yeah. So yeah, that's my point. I think I'm done.
Okay, Deve, what's your take on the police? Do the police make things worse?
They probably do, and the problem with the police is hubris. They kind of behave like politicians. They have got hubris. They have got they've got the baton, they've got the gun, and they've got the risasi. So they've got this power. Oh, and then here is here mtu analeta nyoko nyoko. So that is just somebody that is abusing their power. But why blame the police for abusing their power when everybody is abusing their power? And also, why blame the police when we know that the police would not be doing something that they've not been ordered to do? They get their orders before they leave the station, how they are going to deal with the people. So yes, they have been given their orders. That is for sure. They would not do something that they have not been ordered to do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, David. Stano.
Yeah,
Stano?
for me, I
Okay.
think, yeah, I think the police are not the one doing that. They are being commanded by the higher position or by the politician, because the politician want to hide for the world or for the people not to see the bad side. Because when there is protest, that we are portraying the bad side of the leaders. So the leaders, they try to give a command to the police to try to disrupt so that the protest should not continue. That is they try in that way so that they may be able to police their name. So sometimes their name.
Okay, thanks, Stano. Bill.
Oh, I think I forgot to throw my hand up at the last question. The last one was the content.
Okay, fine. Just again, I want to focus on the police for a while, because people complain a lot during protest all over the world. They say police, police, police. So are we saying the police do nothing wrong? People should stop. Don't blame the police, because all countries they say the police, the police. So are we saying that when there are riots or when there are protests, don't blame the police at all? Is that fair to say that? Don't blame the police. Okay, Bill, you can go.
Okay, so I think that would be a very naive take, the idea that the police should not be involved at all. I think most people don't really mind the police being there, or the police like preventing the or controlling the protest and preventing it from going out of control. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, there are all this. They usually come up the bad actors, the robbers, and the people who bad cars and come out. I think if the police focused more on the people who are actually causing damage to things and to property and or harming other people during these protests, I think most people would want them to be there. But the way things are, the way things usually go, it's usually find that most of the time the police don't do that. They usually target when the things escalate, they attack people indiscriminately. So that's what I think the issue usually is. But eliminating the police from the equation, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm done.
So Bill, a quick question. What if a policeman says, I'm just doing my job? Like if he shoots a protester or beats a protester, he says, I'm just doing my job. What would you say?
No, that's their job is not to shoot again. Their job is not to shoot the protesters, and I think it's like we should like you're asking me to okay, their job is to make sure the protest does not go out of hand, like wouldn't cause damage to property or to other people. So anything that goes past that is they're going past their purview for what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Bill. Deve?
But how is the police not?
Deve, are you there? Deve.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Deve.
What is going on? Hello.
Oh yeah, it's you.
Yes, it is me. So you can hear me now, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. So can you envision? Okay, let us just ask ourselves. Can you envision people demonstrating in Nairobi or in Nakuru or in Mombasa, and they are demonstrating alongside their police officers, and they are calmly or quietly discussing and joking with their police officers, because police officers are our brothers and sisters. Can we envision that? Is it possible that I can be demonstrating in Nairobi and the Karau is just next to me and we are just walking, we are just demonstrating, I'm carrying my placard and the Karau is just with me there and he is just joking and chatting with me peacefully and I'm not doing anything? And
in the Gen Z, I saw a few policemen. I think because they had kids or something. So some few cops were very kind to the Gen Zs. A few, not all. They were very okay with the Gen Zs. Yeah, a few.
So we can envision. That it is possible. It can happen. Yes.
Yes, it happened in the Gen Zs. It happened with the Gen Z. It did.
So when it doesn't happen, why is it not the fault of the police? The Gen Zs do not have guns and batons. But they are only doing something that the police boss thinks that it will make the person who appointed him look bad.
Okay, David, if the policeman say that I had to defend myself, what would you say? If a cop say that I was defending myself from the protester, what would you say?
Yeah, then the cameras will be there to show that he was defending himself. We will have to see the cameras. We will have to see the videos and the cameras saying that here he was being beaten. And that one, then the citizenry of the country should come against that and say that no, that's not what we are trying to do here. But it hardly ever happens that the Gen Zs rise against the cops. There will be some, the hubris of young people. There might be some that do that, but more often, 85%, it's the police officer, my brother, my sister, the fathers of these young Gen Zs. Mtu anapiga a child, and that child can even be his son or his daughter. And it can happen. The policeman is not your enemy. He's only your enemy if you are doing something bad. I can be going out here and a police officer will stop me as he is writing me maybe a $200 or $150 ticket. I'm talking and I'm chatting with him. I did something wrong. So he's doing his work and I am just there, just making jokes. And he can even make his own jokes too. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if the systems are working, the policeman should do his job. And I also should obey the law. Nobody is above the law, including the president of the country or prime minister. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, David. Stano.
I think we can look in this angle. Protesters are on the road, and the police, and they are peaceful, and the police, they are just watching. But a command from above came. They should clear that road. So they just pulled out the tear gas, and when the protesters find the tear gas, now they start to react, and that is how the chaotic begin. So who to blame? Is police, the one who gave the command, or the protester? Because the protester will start now to fight it back.
So now, Stano, you were saying it's a police's fault then. What I've heard, you were saying it's a police who caused all the problem.
But they were trying to clear the road. They were trying to clear the road according to the command they were given, so that the maybe vehicle or business can operate normally. But as that's result, they are tear gassing the peaceful protester. So those peaceful protesters, they start to react by maybe throwing the stone, or they became anger and start to destroy properties because of that anger of tear gas. So in that case, which area or who to blame? Is the authority, the police, or the protester? So that is why I say sometimes we need to look with the all angle to see where the fault is.
Okay, thanks, Tano. Dorcas? Dorcas, are you there? Okay. Dorcas. Okay. Then Bill, your hand is up. Bill, your hand is still up.
I keep forgetting to write.
Okay, fine. Okay. Dorcas, have you come? She's not there. Okay, now, how about the downsides? Okay, you guys are saying they're effective, eh? But how about the downsides of demonstrations? Then the negative side of the demonstrations. What did you say? You guys, you say that they make an impact. They make, what's a disadvantage of demonstrations? Thanks. Okay, Bill.
Okay. So I think a main issue with demonstrations is that there are a suboptimal way of achieving change. Because I strongly believe that other methods of action or public action are more effective than protest. Like the strike that was the minute that the transport industry had done. Like if they had just hold on for like a week, I'm sure the government will have backtrack. Just the transport sector. Now that's one. Two, the cost rarely rarely justifies the benefits. So for instance, when we did the 2024 protest, we lost a lot of lives, and we are fighting against something that most people believe this. And much as the government backtracked, most of the things that they wanted to do ended up being passed anyway. They just did more. They did it incrementally instead of doing it at once as they had planned initially. So I'm not a big fan of protests. I understand why people do them, and I wouldn't like actively actively talk against them. But I don't. I feel like the cost is just too much. It's an optimal way of doing things. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Debe?
Dorcas, do you want Dorcas? You can go. You can go before I do. I can wait.
Yeah.
You start. You can
I
go.
don't know. She's not responding. I don't know what's happening. Dorcas, are you there? Yeah, I see. Debe,
Okay.
that's why I called you. Yeah, just go.
Yeah. Okay. I will see. When she comes in. So if I start, let me just start with the material loss and infrastructure. Buildings are destroyed. Infrastructure is roads. People burn tires on the roads. Transportation comes to a standstill. And let me tell you, there are people who are trying to get to a hospital because they are sick. They are going to die if they do not get to the help that they need. They are going to die. maybe a woman giving birth or something, just curable thing, somebody with the malaria, but they need to get to a hospital. They will not get to the hospital. And I can assure you they are going to die if they do not get help. That is one thing. The infrastructure, yes, infrastructure in disruption. Maybe there's disruption of water, maybe disruption of the roads and all that. That costs money, costs lives. So there is that disruption. But when you think about that disruption, let us talk about the disruption of Mau Mau. That one is something that we know. Maybe we had parents who were involved, who have mentioned to us that kind of disruption. There is the psychological disruption that people get. Kids who are trying to get to school, that kind of psychological disruption that they get. I could see the kind of psychological disruption that my parents went through, that they would never talk of Mau Mau. They would never, even mentioning the one Mau Mau. They just, yeah. So there is all that disruption. But then, because of the psychological things that they went through, what did I do? I was able to grow up in a country that I could call my own, Kenya, that I could call independent. So yes, that is that there is that disruption, and we also have to see what the result that comes from it. Yes, and many people die unnecessarily. And does there have to actually be death in them? No, there doesn't have to be, but it is there. Thank you, Muriuki.
Okay. Dorcas, have you come? Okay, she's not there. So now, okay, like take for example, and David, maybe you can also talk about Canada where you are. Can you say demonstrations? They give idlers a chance to vent their anger. Oh,
Hello.
Dorcas, finally.
Yes.
Finally.
I'm so sorry, guys. My phone has been giving me grief.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here finally.
Could you hear what you were saying? Could you hear us?
No. At some point,
Oh, you couldn't.
I lost you. Actually, that was a call. I got a call.
Okay. Okay.
So, first of all, even before I answer the question that I had caused me to raise my hand, I'm wondering what was the first question.
From the top, we defined it, what it means, Maandamano mean. Yeah, and then we talked about the police, a lot about the police, whether it's the police who come and cause mayhem. And then whether we like see that a peaceful protest is not easy. There has to be violence for there to be a change. That's what most people are saying. There has to be violence. And that's what we're saying at times the police may cause something peaceful to become violent. Yeah.
Okay. Sawa. So
I don't know. What do you think about the police? Are they the ones who spoil a peaceful protest and a peaceful protest? Can they work? It's impossible. There has to be violence.
well, in order to answer that question, I would like us to look at the most recent and largest protest that made Kenya become a poster girl or poster boy, if depending on how you want to gender it, for protests, for youth protests, the Gen Z protests. Kenyans spearheaded it in 2024, the anti-finance bill. And when you look at that trajectory of the demonstrations, what happened was initially the protests were peaceful. The protests were organized by the so-called keyboard warriors, children of middle class Kenyans, but also lower income Kenyans, but they were all young, predominantly young people. And I remember people would keep saying, we are peaceful, we are peaceful, we are peaceful, as they were marching. And that was the reason why women felt comfortable enough to join those protests. That was the reason why people who generally tend to be locked out or left out of demonstrations showed up during those 2024 protests. So they were peaceful and they were a manifestation of civil disobedience. But the moment the police came in, they scuttled everything and ruined that peaceful aspect. So yes, protests can be peaceful. This phenomenon is not new. Non-violent protests have been carried out across history, and some of the famous political figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King have spearheaded peaceful demonstrations. And often the police become government machineries to stifle that civil disobedience. So police can be an impediment to real justice. That said, later those 2024 protests and even subsequent ones like the commemoration in 2025 that also tried to speak against extrajudicial killings, including the killing of Albert Ojwang, those ones now took on a different character where it became violent. And I think there were two categories of people who ruined it for the general public. There were goons. There were goons or idle people who are criminals that seek for opportunities where there's chaos and disorder. And then they go and loot. They looted supermarkets, they looted shops, they took a lot of property, and it was terrible. Then there's the other category, which are hired goons by the targeted political group. Some government officials have been named by goons who are saying, thank you, so and so. I don't want to name names lest I face legal liability. But we've had that in the past, where now politicians use that fear of violence as a way of curtailing peaceful demonstrations or making people wary of peaceful demonstrations. So there's that aspect. And in that case, where goons show up, whether they are paid or not, police are necessary to maintain law and order, to enforce security. So there, the police are necessary. I know I've spoken for long. This is the last thing I'm saying. Last week, I remember in the news right here next to my estate, Mwihoko is right before Githurai 45. I remember there was a business person who said he had lost close to 5 million worth of motorbikes or motorbike parts that were looted from his shop. And he said he wants the police to be there. He wishes that the police protect their properties during such demonstrations. So it is not black and white, Morioki. It's a mixed bag in Kenya. There's a lot of nuance involved. But bottom line, they are necessary. It's just that sometimes they instigate violence or sometimes they cross the line and use live ammunition, which should not be the case. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thanks, Dorcas. Okay, maybe I can ask this question. Supposing a protester says there's no point of going there because idlers will come and cause mayhem. So they say there's no point of going to demonstrate because idlers will come, people who are jobless will come, and it won't work. So is that a fair statement for someone to say, I won't go because there'll be idlers there who they'll mess everything. Our plan will fail because of the idlers. Is that fair? So there's no point of a demonstration because always that happens. Always there's these guys who come and they mess everything up. They start stealing from hustlers. Somebody complained that instead of going to politicians and getting from them, they go to hustlers, they go to shops of people who are just struggling like them and steal from them. So now, what if you say that there's no point of a demonstration because those guys will come and destroy everything? What do you guys think? Thanks. Is it worth it? Because the idlers will come and spoil your plan. You have a plan for the demonstration, but these idlers will come and mess everything up. So what's the point of going? Because it always happens. What do you guys think? It's not worth it because of the idlers. What do you think? Okay, Billy, can go.
Okay, so I think it depends with what you're protesting about. Like if you feel like it's like a cost benefit analysis. If you feel like the cost of the shops that will be destroyed is more than is for the value that will be lost will be more than what the impact that the policies that are being proposed will have, then don't go. So, but if you feel like the policies that are being proposed by the government at that time will have a much higher negative impact, that such that the loss of lives and property is worth it. So, for instance, like in the 22 elections, maybe you believe that the number of lives that will be lost as a consequence of the maybe the cancer thing and the cancer tax and all those other taxes will be far more than the lives that we lost during the protest and the property that we lost during the protest. Then it's worth it. But if you feel like let's say like we were protecting something that might not have might not be as consequential, then I don't feel like that would be worth it. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm done.
So for you, if you don't care about the idlers, if they come or not, it's not your problem.
I don't know why you keep twisting words. I'm not saying I don't care about the idlers. I'm saying if you feel like the impact that the idlers will have is less than the impact that this protest will have on the economy, the net positive impact that this protest will have on the economy or on the policies that are being made, then you should go. So that I don't care about the idlers, I care about the idlers and I understand the negative impact that they have. But I'm saying, like, because it's like you need like a drug, like taking a bit of medicine. If you feel like the medicine, this bit of drug, it's so bitter that it's not worth you saving your life for it, then don't take it. But if you feel like it's all chemotherapy, usually you lose your hair and you go through like a very painful experience. But if you feel like your life after that um, chemotherapy is worth it, then you can go through that painful process. But if you don't feel like it's all, if you don't feel like it's all worth it, then you won't go through like the painful process. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the painful process is good, or that I'm good with the painful process. I'm saying that if it is inevitable, then you have to go through it. You won't like lay back because it will happen anyway. So we not transfer to go. You'll be going despite the painful process. I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. I get you. Thanks. Okay, Deve.
Thanks, Muriuki. There are more protests in France than in Kenya. The French people will protest everything and anything. But mostly it is peaceful, or rather, it used to be peaceful. There are a few things have changed in France. So if you have idlers, there is something that is going on in that country that is producing idlers. And if nobody is addressing the idlers, they're just addressing what the idlers did, then they are not addressing, or rather they don't want to understand what the problem is. So in Kenya, there will be very many idlers who will be there so that that day they can have a meal, that day they can have 2 shillings in their pocket, because they've not had an opportunity to have a shilling or to even have a meal, maybe for a whole week. And why is it? Because the economy is not producing jobs, or rather, nobody is steering the economy towards creating jobs or making these people create their own jobs, making the environment friendly for them to create a job. Because people have to eat, no matter what, people are going to eat. So if that protest becomes an opportunity for somebody to eat, while I also blame the person that will go to steal, not because they are hungry, not because they are jobless, but they're just stealing because of their greed, I have a problem with that. But there will be somebody who will go who is an idler, complete idler, and they will be looking for an opportunity to steal. And I'm not saying that just because you're an idler, you must steal, but I'm just saying that the temptation is there more for an idler than for somebody who has got a stall in Marigiti, a market stall in Marigiti or in City Market, to go and become an idler and steal something. So now we must look at it for the way it is. It is this, that this economy is producing a lot of idlers. So what should be done about this economy that is producing these idlers? It has to be addressed. And then legally you address people that are stealing, because that person is just stealing. Legally, then you have to address that situation by the police arresting somebody that is breaking somebody's shop and stealing. But if the person that is supposed to arrest those people is part of the so-called idlers, what are you going to do? If the person that's supposed to arrest them is also joins in Muriuki, what do you do with that? It's not just the idlers. There's a problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Dave, it's so unfortunate. Like these recent riots, they go to shops of people who are just making it, are getting by, and they steal from shops of people on what you can see. The shop isn't so advanced. Then they go and steal from there. So they are asked, surely, now you steal from hustlers like you. You get what I'm saying? It's so unfortunate. They steal from anyone. They steal from hustlers. They steal from Nini. So I feel bad for the hustler also. You go and steal from a hustler. I don't know. Okay. Doctors.
Okay. You're asking whether it is worth it to join a protest if there's the threat or the possibility of violence, right?
Yeah. The idlers, yeah, they'll come and they'll mess everything up. As always happens anyway. It always happens.
Yeah. So I think that here we fall in the danger of never changing anything because of some negative consequences or some negative outcomes in these demonstrations that we have in Kenya. You can become so fearful that you never demonstrate, that you just let injustice prevail because you are scared of the threat of violence. And it's a valid one. It's a valid fear because safety comes first. The people who are supposed to protect us are the police, yet the police are not on our side. The police do what the higher ups tell them, and the higher ups want it to be violent so that the common mwananchi or the law-abiding mwananchi does not participate in it. It's a vicious cycle. So you see, you let them win. You let the elite, the people who were increasing the fuel prices, i.e. the government and its respective parastatals, or if it's, say, a demonstration about unfair pay for doctors or teachers, then you let your employers, if you are a registered TSC member, then the government wins for not paying you what you rightfully deserve. The status quo will prevail and injustice will be the order of the day. So here, my recommendation would be that you consider other forms of strikes, of Maandamano. It's not just going to the streets that is the only way. You can demonstrate through work stoppage. That has been the case with doctors and teachers. I remember, I think it was 2024, where doctors held the longest strike there was, 50-something days. So you can stop going to work. That is also what happened this last week with the matatu owners going on strike. They stopped going to work. They were not ferrying any customers. And that is still effective because the public will feel the pinch of your absence, especially when the service you offer is essential, like transport or medicine or even teaching. So you'll still achieve the same aim without putting your life in danger. Because yes, I do agree that the threat of violence is pressing and concerning. You could put your life in danger that way. But the option of us doing nothing is also not a good one, because our society will not change if we just accept things as they are. So that would be my recommendation. Just not going to work, just stopping work stoppage. That could be an option, given that being out in the streets is risky. Thank you.
Although Gen Zs couldn't do that. For Gen Zs, there could be no work stoppage, right? There no choice. Sindio, Gen Zs, there's no other option but going to the streets.
Yeah, let me think about an alternative, if at all there is one for that.
Okay, fine. Then maybe just a question. Do you think after it's over, the demonstrators should discriminate against those who didn't come? It's like the Gen Z saying, you guys did nothing, so you shouldn't share in what you've achieved. As in, should demonstrators discriminate against the ones who didn't come to and join them in the protest? What do you think? Is it fair for some of the society? I was there, you aren't there, so step off. What do you guys think? Okay, Bill, go Bill.
Okay, so I think first I'll start with the first point that the first friend has asked about if the agencies had no other alternative. No, I don't think. I don't think that the agencies lack other alternatives, because it's not like the agencies are not taking part in the workforce, but they have zero impact on the economy. I think like if all the people below that today stop going to work, I don't think that much will be done. Like if that the economy it prospers as much as it does. Like they have a very huge impact. They have a very huge impact on the workforce. That's so that their absence in the field will be noticed, will also be felt. Second, okay, on the point there, Nini, on the point of Nini, the second question ilikuwa muuliza ilikuwa ni
the ones who participated should
yeah.
discriminate against the ones who didn't. See, and
Okay,
like me, I was there, you aren't there. So yeah.
And like I think I don't think it's even feasible. Even if you wanted to discriminate against people who did not take part in your protests, like how are you going to tell us we are protesting for better roads? So mtakataza kutumia barabara. I don't think it's something that is feasible. That can be done. That's it, but they can be in the platform. Like I feel like if there are people who are have reached platform that they are formed based on the idea of activism, then they have some sense of responsibility towards taking part in these things. Because like what's the point of like it's not it's a sign it's hypocritical kuwa unatuma watu kwenda kwa barabara and then wewe mwenyewe unakaa kwa nyumba kwenye mimosas. So like they should we can deplatform them and give those platforms the people who show their loyalty to the cause. I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. And what do you think? Should the demonstrators discriminate against the ones who didn't? What do you think? Should the ones who are there have an upper, be held higher than the ones who didn't come?
That would be quite tricky, because even in a labor strike, when people have a strike at work, some people go to work against the strike. And there's nothing that the co-workers can do except you just get a very bad name for breaking the strike. But even when the pay you get your salary increased, the people who had a strike and the people who did not strike, they all get the benefits. The people who had a strike all the strikes that produced us the 2011 Constitution, they enjoy it just like everybody else. And those who died, they didn't enjoy it. But the people who probably stayed safe at home, they lived another day to enjoy the Constitution. So it is very, very tricky. And in Kiswahili, I think there used to be methali. It used to say, who is the brave person? What do you call a brave person in Kiswahili? Kwa shujaa huenda kilio. but kwa the coward, kwa the coward the coward gets to get home, but the shujaa never gets to get home. So they will enjoy it. It's not, we cannot deny them that, because once you work for a collective good, they are going to enjoy it. So that's how it is. We can't tell them, oh, don't enjoy the Constitution. Oh no, we can't do that. They will enjoy it even if they were a scab. They broke the strike. They will enjoy all the benefits of that labor strike. Just like that. You can't deny them. Thank you.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is if you demonstrate, it's not for you, it's for people, right? You know, it's not for yourself, it's for other people, right?
That is correct. You might live to enjoy it if it is enacted while you still live. But if it's enacted 20, 30, 40 years down the road, you don't get to enjoy it. But you are part of the fight for that thing. Yeah. So you can always say that, yeah, you are. I can always say, yeah, I was a part of Saba Saba, which eventually produced us the repeal of Moy Law. Well, it's Moy Law, I would say, and it led to having a constitution. Yes, probably some majority of the people live to enjoy it, but there are some people who don't live to enjoy that whatever what tulikunywa hiyo tear gas ya Sabasaba, but here we have a Kenya that is taken a step towards another direction. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. So, Dorcas, what do you think? Should there be discrimination between the demonstrators and the ones who didn't go?
No. I think in a democratic society, we should make peace with the fact that some people will be very enthusiastic about civil disobedience and others will not. You cannot force it upon individuals. And in fact, I saw this over the past week. You know, today's discussion is really relevant. Like, it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic because we were dealing with it this week. And there is the possibility that it could continue next week in spite of what the transport leaders, the transport stakeholder leaders claimed. They said that all Matatu strikes are off and people should just go back to work. If you're in the transport industry, despite the fuel price increase, there's an alleged reduction of 10 shillings, but you see, it's a joke. It does nothing compared to how it was increased. So there's the possibility next week that the public or Matatu drivers themselves, Matatu owners themselves might go and they might demonstrate again. So that this week, I saw instances of that intolerance, because that's a form of intolerance. Just because you don't hold the view that I hold, or you don't display your political ideology the way I do, does not make you inferior. So I saw that when youth would block roads, they'd barricade them. And if you are a matatu owner, mama yangu, woe unto you, because you are betraying the cause. So it's like they're forcing you to demonstrate. And yeah, there were people who faced the heat on the first day of the demonstrations because they were called betrayers. So the second day they did not dare to do it. Because I remember on the first day I was transported to work by a matatu. But then in the evening, there were no matatus available. We had to walk back home. So I think they got the message. Matatu drivers got the message that your life will be in danger if you dare oppose these demonstrations. So it's not right. I don't think we should make it compulsory, or we should make other people feel inferior, what have you, through forceful methods. I think I have confidence in the power of persuasion. It is up to you to persuade all the players in your industry that they should participate in the demonstrations. This is the power of persuasion, the gift of the gab. If you don't have it, don't use force in order to send your message across. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dorcas. Now, another question. If you're asked to tell a protester the do's and don'ts, what do you think they should be told? Like when you're going for a protest, these are the do's, and these are the don'ts. What do you guys think should be the do's and don'ts? Thanks. What do you guys think for a successful demonstration? What should be the do's and the don'ts? Okay, Bill, you can go. Bill, you can go.
I think the most obvious don't is don't hurt other people or destroy property, including government property, which people usually feel, people usually feel like it has a nini kama they have a leeway to destroy government property, but I feel like doing that usually just creates more avenues for politicians to steal, because now they have the ways to go tunatumia kutengeneza barabara ama the things that we spoiled. Yeah, so I don't, they do just everything else that you can do it, but as long as they're not destroying property and or this or harming people or just disturbing people in general. Yeah. Done.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Dave, in your opinion now, what are the do's and don'ts in a demonstration?
In a perfect world, I'm going to say that, first of all, in a perfect world, a demonstration should start peacefully and end peacefully, even with the participation of the police, because guess what? They are going to be beneficiaries of any result, the good positive results that come out of that. They will be benefiting from that. So it should be a lawful, it should be done in accordance with the law of the land. And it is doable, it is possible. That is in a perfect world. But in the real world, demonstrators should know a couple of things. They should be behaving like owners of things. You don't go, stoning cars. That person hasn't done anything to you. Even if they are a strike breaker, they are being a scab, they are breaking some of the things that you think they should respect about this demonstration or this strike. That doesn't call for you destroying property. Destruction of property should just not be part of it. But disruption, there's a difference between destruction and disruption. They should disrupt and disrupt and disrupt, but they should not destroy. They should not destroy property. So they should disrupt the economy. But destroying somebody's car or somebody's bus, that does not disrupt the economy. You can disrupt the economy by just standing in front of that bus, and that bus will have to stay there all day. It is not going to go anywhere. You've disrupted, but you have not destroyed that bus. When the strike is over, that bus will still go on the road. So I think that is one thing that the strikers should know. They should follow the law. Another do is that the strikers should know there is nothing called a government property. It is your property. That is your money. I don't even know why people just don't know that. But it is, the government owns nothing. That state house does not belong to the person that is sitting in it. It belongs to you. In fact, I was very sad when I saw the kind of repairs that was done or the kind of changes that was done on State House. I don't know why people think that it is their property. It is our property. It's my tax dollars, my taxations that maintain that place. That built that place was my parents paid taxes. They bought sugar, salt, and paid tax to build that place. So demonstrators ought to know that government property is their property. It's their property. When you are destroying Parliament, you are destroying it. It's like you are destroying your own house or your own office. So those I can cite those don'ts. And also people should not, they shouldn't kill each other during a demonstration or injure and maim each other. It's not necessary. It's not called for. It's not necessary. It's not a part of a disruption. Thank you. And if actually, if you can let, if you can let a doctor through who is going to the hospital, oops. Yeah, if the demonstrators can be cautious enough to allow and to let doctors or firefighters to go through, you are disrupting the economy. But when you are letting a doctor or a firefighter through to go to answer, or an ambulance, or you are not, that is not a disruption of economy. You are allowing somebody to go and save lives. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks, David. Okay, Doc has do's and don'ts.
Okay. For do's, I'm going to borrow from what we learned in the 2024 demonstrations. I remember my friends, I call them my sparkling girls, my female friends, were so passionate about the anti-finance bill protests. Way. They were attending all the Twitter discussions. What is it called? Twitter spaces. There'd be mobilizers who would organize Twitter spaces, and they would attend them, because that's where the roots would be conveyed. And they would also give you tips on how to survive during the protests. So one of the things they would tell you was how to tackle tear gas, because that's expected. Tear gas and water do not go hand in hand. Like, water is very helpful. So carry a bottle of water and splash it on your face as well as your eyes. But actually, a better strategy would be to have goggles, the ones that are very tight fitting, in order to minimize the entry of tear gas into your eyes, because the moment they get into your eyes, that is where disaster occurs. It becomes very irritating and very painful. But in case you don't have those goggles and the tear gas gets in your eyes, do not rub. The moment you rub your eyes, it lodges further inside and it is more irritating. Also, they were advised to have bandanas. Some of them would have the ones that have a Kenyan flag on them. Where the bandana, actually a wet bandana, let it have water, and cover your nose. Because again, when that tear gas enters your nostrils, it's very irritating. I've only experienced tear gas once in my life. I'm a coward over here. I did not go for the 2024 anti-finance bill demonstrations, or the 2025 ones, the Saba ones, or even the most recent. I've never attended. But there was just one instance in campus when I tasted tear gas and I felt like, oh my gosh, I was having an asthma attack or something. Where? The nostrils. So please safeguard your nostrils through the bandana. But there's also this thing, it's called an N95 mask. It's a respirator with particulate filters. That one can really, really protect you from those effects. So yeah, that's what I would advise. Also, a do would be to carry very few things that can be stolen, except your phone, because the phone is useful in documenting what is taking place. It's actually even advisable to go live. If you're on TikTok, go live on TikTok. If you are on whichever platform, Facebook Live, whatever, Instagram Live, go live so that you can be protected, because sometimes you might record it on your phone and then they confiscate your phone or they steal your phone. But if it goes to the interwebs and to social media platforms, then that would protect you from any problems that could arise. I think it's also important to get notice, to notify the police. There is a public order act that you're supposed to follow. But usually for the nationwide ones, those ones, it's the leaders that are responsible for that. But make sure that you join a protected strike, not one that is unprotected. If it's unprotected, it will be illegal, and there'll be very high chances of a clash with the police. On don'ts, I would echo Deve's and Bill's sentiments. Please, what is it called? Respect private property, and so don't mess with a private property, and don't enter protected spaces, like the way they were saying, occupy State House, where there you're asking for trouble. That was in 2025, last year. They wanted to occupy State House after occupying Parliament previously. So I think that's very risky, because you're going to clash with high level state security, and they are willing to do anything in order to protect those spaces. So I think that's a don't. What else would I say on don't? Yeah, all the other things that Debe spoke about. Yeah, and don't leave the group. You don't be isolated, because the moment you are on your own, that's where the goons, the looters, the criminals take advantage, or even the police themselves. So, yeah. Sorry.
Dorcas, that's yeah.
A phone
Okay,
entered, but yeah, that's what I would share. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point, because about the phone, it's risky because your phone can go if you're not careful. In these riots, in these demonstrations, you can have a phone if you're alone, like you said, be in a group. Because if you're alone and you're caught, the phone is gone. Yeah. So okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, Stano. Bill, is your hand up? Bill. Or it's previous? It's from the previous.
From previous.
Okay, fine. Okay, Stano, what are your do's and don'ts in a demonstration? Okay, Stano, are you there? Okay, not there. Okay, I think we've covered almost everything. Yeah, and then maybe Debe, in Canada, when was the last time there was a serious demonstration involving crowds in Debe? Maybe you can tell us the last time there was a demonstration in Canada which involved many people. What happened? Can you tell us? Thanks.
A demonstration involving many people. Oh golly, let me see. Yeah, even Ottawa. No, that has not happened in a while. Usually, there's a lot of lobbying. The kind of has gone. It has gone technical. Like it has gone IT. But with the real people gathering together to rally in support or against something, that is that usually people will do that, the work. It can even be a department of the government, but that is really small scale. So no, it has gone into lobbying and into very small scale. But large scale, you see, what has happened is when people get together and maybe sign a petition or something, that is just equally as scary as a demonstration to any politician. It's just as scary. because many people, it will reach a lot of people. That kind of a petition will reach a lot of people. But I don't think a petition can work in Kenya. I don't think that those, that it can work the same way there.
Okay,
that,
so and
demonstrations.
Okay, so if I say demonstrations reflect a failed society, is that true? That these street protests show a failed government? Is that true? Because in Canada, you're saying they are fewer than a country like Kenya. Can you say it shows a failed government or a failed country?
I don't think so. I think it is just what works or what has been proven to work. I know that even in Kenya, in time, when people get into petitions and things like that, and they realize that a petition gives a lot of information, and a petition can make somebody lose their seat, their political seat next time. Effectiveness, when it becomes effective, it will just be as good as on the street. The other day, I'll give you an example. 3 weeks ago or about a month ago, the Premier of Ontario, we have a Premier, okay, we have got the Prime Minister and we have got the Premier, because Ontario is a province. So it is the guy whose party got elected becomes the Premier, or who got enough seats. So the Premier decided to buy a plane, a plane that to fly around. And Ontario is big. Ontario is actually just like the size of Kenya. But we have got very good roads. But he went and he bought a plane. Oh, he had to return it. I had 2 days later, he had to return the plane. Why? Because all online, it was hot. And you can just see, he realized that next time I'm losing this seat, my party is going to be decimated because of that plane. So he returned it. Sasa anaenda tu na barabara kama the rest of us. So it works. He would have, the party would have been decimated next time. The Conservatives would have been decimated in the next election because of that plane. Because he's like, why are you buying a plane when we have got an economy that is in problem? We have got problems in the United States. We have got problems. We have no housing. We have, the health is in shambles. And you go and you buy a plane. No, return it. He had to return it to Boeing.
Never. I think in Kenya, I don't think they would return. They would keep it. If it's Kenya, he'll just keep the aeroplane. I think so.
Yes, because it doesn't work the same way. They might not, well, I don't know whether it would not work the same way. In Kenya, it's more urgent that you have to strike the iron right that way, and you strike it by going on the road, interrupt the economy. But here, I do not think that there is much we can do to interrupt the economy of Ontario. There is not much. If you go, you can go and block the main artery, which is called the 401, Highway 401. It runs from the United States and goes all the way to the Pacific Ocean, past Rimouski, past Quebec, all the way to the east, the end of the east side of Canada. You can go and block that one, but there's a problem with that. There are a lot of other streets. You can avoid it. There are lots of other roads, so it can be a little tricky. You see what I mean? Yeah, our road network is very different. It's not very central. As we will have one highway running, but they do block it when there is a construction or there is an accident, and there are detours, and you can if you know the province, or if you know that highway, you just get out of the highway and you go and you join it ahead somewhere after the accident or the blockage. So yeah, it's a bit different that way. So to interrupt the economy is a little harder, or to disrupt.
Okay, thank you. So I think we've covered everything. We can give our closing remarks. So I can see this Eugene. Eugene, are you there? Can you just say something, Eugene? You are on off. Eugene, our closing remarks and what you got from the discussion. Thanks.
Yes, I'm present. I haven't been around for a long time, but I've been able to hear points from Dorcas and Eve, and it's been lovely to hear your opinions. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Eugene. Thanks for joining us. So, Bill, your closing remarks?
It's been nice joining you in this conversation. And I've enjoyed the conversation and been interacting with you guys. That's all. I hope you'll have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Dave, any closing remarks?
Yes, I will say I will say that as long as the Kenyan governments continue furthering the nyayos that they've been following, then Maandamano will have to be like physical and go out there and really disrupt the economy. That will be the way that it gets that they are able to respond, that it scares them when the economy is disrupted, and the news all over the world is that Kenya is a no-go zone as far as tourism and all that. You see, that's what I'm talking about, interrupting. So as long as the governments keep on disregarding the law and disrespecting the citizenry, then demonstrations will have to go maybe this old-fashioned way. But in the future, I'm hoping that a petition online reaching all over, reaching the whole country, and it is possible because Kenyans are very, very connected. It's only that I do not know what that connectivity means to each person, but that connectivity in the future, maybe the future of the current Gen Zs, that is how it is going to be done. It's going to be done online, and it is going to scare somebody that next time your party is going to be destroyed. It's going to be to be finished the next time in the election, and that will be enough for people to behave themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Debe. Stano, closing remarks? Okay, I think, Dorcas, you can give your remarks and close.
Okay. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
Oh,
I can hear you, Dorcas.
Yeah.
I can.
Great. I had switched to headphones, so I wanted to confirm. Now, first of all, I wanted to add something small concerning question that you had asked and that I had made a contribution to when you had talked about whether people should not go for demonstrations in Kenya, given that they are just going to be violent. It's inevitable. So why bother? Why put yourself in the line of fire? And I considered that that is true. More or less, it's very likely that a demonstration in Kenya will be violent, and you could bear the brunt of it. You could be another Rex Masai, you could be another Boniface Karaoke, or many of the hundreds of other casualties of our demonstrations, either through a stray bullet or people. It might be a stampede, or it could be a criminal. You know, there are so many ways it could go wrong. And I added that if we decide not to bother because of that fear, then nothing will change. And I gave alternatives. But even before we consider the alternatives, I think you shouldn't assume that that's always the case or that the violence will occur throughout the demonstration. Sometimes the violence, very often actually, the violence starts to arise later in the day. But if you go early, you can register your discontent, you can document it for the public on social media, and you can go back home quickly enough, you know, because the point is to register your discontentment to show that you're demonstrating, you know, to demonstrate physically, so through those protests. So you can show up very early, do your thing and go back home before things start to descend into chaos, because very often the chaos happens later in the day. So that's a possibility. We shouldn't just assume that it's extreme from the get-go. Then now considering the alternatives to street demonstrations, as I said, there's work stoppage, and you had asserted that maybe the Gen Zs are not able to do that if they are unemployed. But it's a misnomer to assume that all Gen Zs are unemployed. I'm sure there are many who are working, because a Gen Z is anybody who is, I think, is it 14 or 15 years to 28 this year. So yeah, there are people who are employed. But even so, even if somebody is unemployed, other possibilities apart from the street demonstrations include boycotting goods or services from the companies that are exploitative in nature, or tax resistance, that's economic disobedience, or resisting. Okay, the others are too. Hey, I'm seeing other suggestions, but those ones, I don't endorse them. Like trespassing, prohibited public places like military bases. I definitely do not recommend that. I think that's very dangerous. Yeah, I think those are the alternatives I would suggest. But street demonstrations are not always violent. They descend into it later in the day. So we need to be courageous. We need a few of us. Maybe people like Dorcas are too cowardly to take the first step, but we need some courageous Kenyans, patriotic individuals, to show up and register their discontentment regarding the government of the day. Lastly,
Doctor, a quick question. Do you think
yes,
it will be hard to live? Because you're in a group with people. Do you think it'll be hard to say what's in the Nyumbani? It'll be hard to live. What do you think? To say I've done my job in a group, it'll be hard to leave them. What do you think?
no, you can live. You can live. That is unless you're stuck in the middle, you know, in the middle of it, and it's very crowded. Perhaps there it might be tricky, but I think people are there registering their discontentment. They're not stopped at you. Where are you going? No, you can. I think it's possible. I think it is. But generally speaking, we as Kenyans have set the pace when it comes to civil disobedience. In fact, this was a topic we discussed in our last video shoot. We are going to upload, sorry for the delay, guys. We got the videos from the video shoot, but there have been some technical glitches on our end as officials. But come next week, we're going to upload that one I think we'll start with the one for civil disobedience. Yes, it is necessary for us to engage in civil disobedience when our governments are not doing what they're supposed to do. And we know how corrupt, how inept, how mediocre our leadership is. It is us who are suffering. If we don't speak up, if we don't turn up to demonstrate, then we will continue to suffer day by day. So I am definitely for Maandamano. I think people should just engage in those do's and don'ts that we recommended, and we should continue to be brave and courageous, patriotic Kenyans. Good luck next week. I hope all will be well, and good luck in the future of our country. I know they are inevitable. There is no single year where we will not have demonstrations. We'll always have to have them, given how inept our governments are. So yeah, let's keep holding them accountable. Let's keep pushing, even in our professions. If your employers are not doing what they're supposed to, keep pushing for your rights. Yeah, thank you.
Doctors, what time should I go and what time should I leave? When do I go and when do I leave? According to you, what time?
In the morning hours, I think one should go very early and then leave as soon as you have recorded. You've registered your discontentment. You go. Usikae hapo. Don't stay for too long, because that's when now the goons start coming into the picture. I can't give you a specific time, but me, I would suggest doing it early. But I see Bill's hand is up.
Okay.
Okay, I think Mimi the idea kutoka just because we're afraid of this na kitu kama hiyo. Like okay, I understand sentiment, but I think that's what like the government is banking on to prevent it from going to the streets. Like I understand why you would fear for your life, but when my view on kitu kama hii ni like the reason why I'm here today ni kwa sababu some people died. Like there are some people who had to like go and do these things so that I will get the freedoms that I'm enjoying today. And I think it will be selfish of me not to do the same for the people that will come after me. I'm done.
So Bill, stay till the end, eh? Bill, stay till the end.
Ati?
You're saying stay back, don't go home. Stay till the end, eh? Don't go
No,
home.
sir.
Ama.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you should encourage people to go home. I'm saying like sitaenda nyumbani ati kwa sababu like kwa sababu ndoje imefika noon. I might go home because I'm feeling like maybe sasa the way the trajectory that the protest is taking is not the trajectory that I approve of. No. I won't go based on time, but I'll go based on what's the events that are happening. So if they do that, something imefika sana na where people are still like protesting in a way that I approve of, then it's okay for me to continue being there. But if they're doing things that I don't approve of, me staying there is like me endorsing his activity. So I'll go home. But I won't go home because I won't go home because I'm afraid of the possibility of it going out of hand. Speak on any pattern.
Yeah, I get you. Thanks. I get you. Okay. Doctors, you can close, eh?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough, Bill. I think you can play it by ear and watch the cues to see, has it descended into chaos? If it has, go home. If it has not, then why not? It's just that Morioki had really pressed me. When should I attend? When should I leave? So I had to give him an answer. And even that recommendation that I'm giving of going early, it would, if the planners of the demonstration had decided that they are going to do it at a later hour, then the impact of your appearance would be null and void if you show up too early. So these things, they're not carved in stone. There's no script. Anyway, that said, thank you all that participated in the discussion. I know I came in a bit late, but I caught Bill contributing. Deve also said something. Even ex-pastor made his sentiments known. I'd also like to thank the moderator who took it on. This was a current affairs topic. I hope we'll continue to have more of those. Not hope, because we are in charge as the events team. So we will continue to have more current affairs discussions, because it's good to weigh in on what is happening around us. Oh, Deve has her hand raised. Yes, please.
Talking about current affairs, what happened to Kiswahili discussions?
Oh,
Yeah, Dorcas. Yeah, and Dave, a good one.
Morioki, me, I'm passing the back to you. I told you to be reminding us after every quarter. We are supposed to do a Kiswahili discussion after 4 months. 4 months, so that we have 3 Kiswahili discussions a year. That's what we had voted for. Remember, there was a vote that was done. So you please, Kiswahili kitukuzwe. Sawa. Thank you for reminding us. We will have it. I think it's overdue now. I think the 4 months have passed since our last Kiswahili discussion. So yeah, we are going to have one very soon and keep exercising that muscle. Sawa. Thank you all, and I wish you a lovely night, morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Catch up next time.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.